For this new episode, we continue to delve into the treasures of Charente-Maritime, where history intertwines with the beauty of maritime landscapes. Through its Roman ruins, centuries-old churches, and bustling squares, we will explore the city of Saintes, which has preserved the distant echoes of its glorious past. From there, our journey will take us to the horizons of Fort Louvois. Like a stone sentinel, this maritime fortress emerges from the ocean. And we will end our day on the island of Oléron, an insular gem cradled by the Atlantic waves. And we start our day with a visit to Saintes, a historical gem nestled in the heart of Charente-Maritime. This city, steeped in an enchanting atmosphere, unveils its charm through its cobbled streets, majestic buildings, and its rich Gallo-Roman heritage. Over the centuries, Saintes has preserved its heritage with timeless elegance, such as the Abbey of the Ladies, which is a former Benedictine abbey founded in 1047 on the right bank of the Charente River. It was the first women's monastery in the region, and the nuns, women of power, lived cloistered lives and dedicated themselves to contemplation, but also to activities such as coin minting. Structured around the Church of Sainte Marie, famous for its Romanesque facade and pine-conched bell tower, the abbey experienced periods of wars and fires, but was restored in the 1970s-1980s. Today, the Abbey of the Ladies is a cultural meeting center focusing on heritage and creative music. It promotes artistic innovation, fosters cultural transmission, and develops links between tangible and intangible heritage. Founded in 1047 by the Count of Anjou Geoffroy Martel and his wife Agnès of Burgundy, the abbey was placed under the protection of the King of France in 1378. It became one of the most powerful women's monasteries in southwestern France, educating young girls of the nobility. However, it declined from the 18th century, even becoming a prison during the Revolution and a military barracks under the First Empire. The Church of Sainte Marie and the convent buildings, dating respectively from the 12th and 17th centuries, have been restored and converted into a cultural center. They now house a musical city with events such as the Saintes Festival, the young orchestra of the Abbey of the Ladies, and an artistic education program. The musical city is a place for training, performance, musical creation, spirituality, hospitality, and artistic discoveries, ensuring the continued radiance of the Abbey of the Ladies. You can also discover the musical carousel that raises public awareness of musical creation. In this dome, with metallic facets inspired by origami and kaleidoscope, participants experience 12 instruments that blend into the body of the beast made of rattan, inspired by the basilic, very present in medieval imagination and resonating with the vestiges of the abbey. After a few minutes, software allows the basilisk to create a new melody from the sounds created, and of course, each ride is unique. After this musical interlude, we head towards Bassompierre Place, and we discover the Arch of Germanicus, erected around 1819 AD, which served as the main entrance to the Roman city of Saintes, and was therefore not a triumphal arch. Once inhabited by the Santons, a Gallic people, it was named by the Romans Mediolanum Santonum, which meant a city in the middle of the plain of Santon. This arch, dedicated to the Emperor Tiberius, Drusus, and Germanicus, is adorned with fluted pilasters and composite capitals. Despite medieval alterations, it almost was demolished in 1843, along with the old bridge. The intervention of Prosper Mérimée, writer, historian, and archaeologist, saved the arch, which was dismantled and then reassembled in Bassompierre Place. It measures 15.9 meters long and 15 meters high, and is one of the best preserved Roman remains in Saintes. Even today, we can still distinguish the engraved stones with a dedication to Tiberius and Germanicus, a precious testimony to the city's importance in the 1st century. Just next to it is the Archaeological Museum, where we are invited to discover the ancient city of Mediolanum through its urban planning and the lives of its inhabitants 2000 years ago. We arrive at the Saint-Pierre Cathedral, which is built on a Christian site dating back to the Middle Ages. It underwent numerous periods of reconstruction between the 12th and 17th century. Of Romanesque origin, it was partially destroyed during the Wars of Religion in 1538 and was almost entirely rebuilt in flamboyant Gothic style with a finely sculpted western portal. Its massive unfinished bell tower, covered in zinc, dominates the city from its height of 58 meters. Hidden behind the cathedral is the cloister, a true haven of peace in the heart of Saintes. Long time closed, it's now open to the public again. Dating back to the 13th century, its colonial-style galleries on two sides enhance its beauty, and its planters, filled with aromatic and medicinal plants, reminds us that it was an important place in ecclesiastical life. Inside, the grand organs, installed in 1626 and classified as historical monuments since 1973, add to the artistic richness of the cathedral, which rises on 3 levels. Except for the bell tower, the building was almost completed when the Wars of Religion broke out. In 1568, Huguenot troops damaged the cathedral, destroyed the portal, broke the statues, and ravaged the radiating chapels of the choir. The pillars of the nave were undermined, causing its collapse. Reconstruction began in 1585, but due to lack of funds, it was only rebuilt to 2/3 of its original height, hence the presence of flying buttresses overlooking the void. A second phase of reconstruction took place between 1648 and 1702. It's worth to point out that the cathedral survived the Revolutionary period. Saint-Pierre Cathedral remains a major architectural landmark, bearing witness to the history and Gothic art in southwestern France. Less than 1 kilometer from the cathedral, we discover the oldest religious monument of the city, which also has one of the most beautiful crypts in France, the Basilique Sainte-Eutrope. The church was built starting from 1081 under the impetus of the Burgundian Abbey of Cluny to house the relics of the evangelizer of Saintonge, Saint Eutrope. Consecrated by Pope Urban II in 1096, it became an essential stop on the Way of St. James. Partially demolished in 1803, the church still retains a crypt from the late 11th century, a true lower church with ambulatory and radiating chapels, above which develop, following the same plan, the apse and the transept. The crypt features an original and innovative vaulting type and predominantly decorative monumental sculpture inspired by Roman antique models, which are abundant in Saintes. The crypt is absolutely beautiful and the Roman atmosphere really worth it. Behind the basilica, you will find the Gallo-Roman amphitheater, which is an important testament to ancient architecture. Dating back to the 1st century, it offers a fascinating glimpse of Roman engineering, with its stone tiers capable of accommodating a large number of spectators. Built during the Gallo-Roman era, this amphitheater was a venue for entertainment and spectacles, hosting gladiator battles, athletic competitions, and other public events. Despite the ravages of time, a significant portion of the structure remains, allowing visitors to appreciate the cultural and architectural imprint of the Roman era in the region. We are now heading towards the gem of the Atlantic, Louvois Fort. At the foot of the famous bridge of Island of Oléron, an unmissable discovery awaits history and maritime adventure enthusiasts. Initiated by the Marquis de Louvois, then Minister of War, its implementation was entrusted to the engineer François Ferry. Upon Louvois' death, Vauban reduced its ambition and limited the construction to a part of the envisaged oval, giving it its final horseshoe shape. The fort is often considered the little brother of the famous Fort Boyard. Built in the 17th century on an immersed rock between the island of Oléron and the Marennes Basin, this historic site has a fascinating history. At low tide, a 400-meter paved causeway allows for quick pedestrian access. At high tide, the adventure continues with access by boat from the port of Chaput, a crossing of about 10 minutes, with rotations every 15 minutes. Witness to the progress of armaments in the 18th century, the fort adapts ingeniously, retaining its garrison and military potential. Armed with cannons and howitzers in the 19th century, it played a crucial role in the defense of the maritime arsenal of Rochefort, exchanging fire with the citadel of Oléron. Today, classified as a historical monument since 1929, Louvois Fort opens its doors to an unusual and surprising visit. Having arrived on foot, we depart from the fort by boat to head towards the island of Oléron.
Never thought too hard about it.
We arrive at the Château d'Oléron. which, despite its name, isn't a castle, but a city and an important oyster port. As the main settlement in the south of the island, this former fortified city sprawls below its citadel, a fortified structure completed by Vauban. Once the residence of the governors of Oléron, it's now one of the main economic hubs of the island. Highly touristic, its historic center consists of traditional houses. Former oyster farmers' hut renovated now houses workshops for artists and artisans. The citadel of Château d'Oléron was built between 1630 and 1704. A remarkable military structure, its construction followed the abandonment of an old medieval fortress and the need to modernize coastal defenses against maritime threats. Initiated on the orders of Cardinal Richelieu as early as 1630, the construction of the citadel was entrusted to the engineer Pierre d'Argencourt. Subsequently, it was modernized under the supervision of the famous military architect Vauban, whom we often mention, thus becoming an essential strategic element in the defense of the French Atlantic coast. In addition to its defensive role, the citadel also served as a departure point for many soldiers heading to New France, thus contributing to the military and colonial history of the country. During the French Revolution, it was transformed into a prison and suffered damage during its occupation by German troops during World War II, notably during a bombing in April 1945. After restoration works, the citadel has regained its former glory. Classified as a historical monument, it now hosts various cultural events and houses a memorial as well as an arsenal converted into a venue for shows, receptions, and exhibitions. Furthermore, since 2014, the tour inside the citadel has been enriched by sculptures representing historical figures, created by the artist Alain Noureau, thus offering visitors an immersive experience in the history of this iconic site. We now head towards Saint-Trojan, where we try in vain to discover the wreck of the Presidente Vieira, an Uruguayan steamship of 40,000 tons, which ran aground on the large beach during a violent storm on the night of November 18th to 19th, 1916. The boat was discovered in the early morning by the inhabitants, and the 25 crew members were rescued during the next tide. The wreck remained buried in the sand for more than 70 years before reappearing. Today, it's covered with a colony of mussels that are harvested by the local fishermen during low tides. We are now heading towards Saint-Pierre-d'Oléron, which is the main settlement on the island. It seems that the communal territory has been inhabited since the Paleolithic period, at a time when Oléron was not yet an island. Here, we discover its church, dating back to the 12th century. The church architecture and decorative elements offer a glimpse of the region's religious heritage. The construction of this vast edifice began in the 12th century. The atypical architecture of the church is explained by various stylistic influences ranging from Baroque and Classical to Neo-Gothic. A brief tour of the town before discovering the Lantern of the Dead, a funerary monument erected in the 12th century, which rises to nearly 25 meters in height, whereas this type of construction typically measures about 10 meters. About 10 kilometers away, we find the Boyarville Beach, which is one of the most beautiful sandy beaches of the island of Oléron. It's renowned for family swimming and its view of the famous Fort Boyard. Boyarville Beach is located at the edge of the Saumonard Forest. It offers an exceptional panorama of Fort Boyard and the island of Aix. Thanks to its privileged location, it's protected from strong currents and is an ideal place to relax and engage in various water activities. And we end our day at the Chassiron Lighthouse, located at the northern tip of the island of Oléron, also known as the end of the World Point. Its strategic position allows sailors to spot the entrance to the Pertuis d'Antioche, a theatre of numerous shipwrecks. Initially erected in 1685 on the orders of Colbert, a first 33 meters high lighthouse tower was built. Facing the increase in maritime traffic, the modernization of navigation marks, and the retreat of the cliff, a new lighthouse was built between 1834 and 1836, reaching a height of 46 meters. Originally entirely white, the lighthouse was clad in black bands in 1926 to increase its visibility and limit confusion with its neighboring grey lighthouse of the Whales, which you can discover in our movie on the Ray Island. It's now fully automated since the departure of the Last Guardian in 1998 and controlled by the lighthouse and beacon office. From Saintes and its impressive Roman ruins to Fort Louvois, a historical witness of coastal defense, passing through the island of Oléron with its citadel, iconic lighthouse, and spectacular coastal landscapes, each stage of this exploration has offered us a unique and enriching experience. A special mention goes to the discovery of Saintes, which was a truly delightful surprise, especially since its visit wasn't initially planned. This proves to us that beautiful experiences can be found where we least expect them. Sharing this adventure with you has been a pleasure, and we would love to hear your own impressions. Please feel free to leave comments. See you soon for new discoveries.